So, hello everyone and welcome. And first of all, thank you for joining on a Friday evening. We will be talking about AI as we all want to, and it will be primarily around QA. We will be taking help from Robin, who is a seasoned expert, and we will try to make. Mhm. And we'll try to make it fruitful for you to make a decision. Like it says that this webinar is for CXOs, but our goal is even if you are at an engineer level, consultant or developer level, you take away something for your leadership and maybe help them make some wise decisions from here. And before we start, and in the meanwhile, when we are waiting for room to like warm up, why don't you scan this QR code and help us with the title of beyond your title, like what do you do in your job?
So people can scan in and then answer that simple question.
I think my screen sharing is trouble. Let's see. Okay, this one is correct.
Mhm.
And everyone, we will wait for around 2 to 3 minutes for the room to warm up. It will be a good time to, again, if you just joined, to scan this QR code and help us uh, to know you better. Probably 2 more minutes, everyone, before we start. If you have not scanned the QR code yet, please do. We'll be just asking a simple question. What do you do beyond your job title? So we have somebody who's working in AI prompt engineering. Very nice. We have a passionate Salesforce QA guy, QA professional with 14 years of experience. Very nice.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm not sure, Robin, how many people joined. What do you say? Should we go ahead?
Yeah, I think we should go ahead.
All right. So, hello everyone. Before we start, a quick introduction about us. I am Abhinav Gupta, and I'm joined by Robin. We both have around 2 decades of experience each in IT industry. A little bit about myself. I am a Salesforce MVP 8 times. I founded Concrete.io in 2014. We are a Crest partner, and I'm working passionately in Salesforce since 2008. Over to you, Robin.
Yeah, cool. So I'm the founder at TestZeus. We've built out the world's first testing agent for Salesforce. I'm a book author, Dreamforce speaker, and open source contributor to projects like Selenium. I've been working with AI and machine learning since it was not cool, but now, interestingly, it is very cool, and that is why we are here.
Perfect. So, a quick recap of today's agenda. We will be actually talking about three types of Salesforce businesses or three types of Salesforce orgs. And to make it simple and easy to process, we will give a fictitious scenario of a bank who is acting as an end user of Salesforce. We will involve the ISVs and consulting partners to cover the whole set of things around different stakeholders, which actually make up our Salesforce implementations. We'll also talk about generations of QA. It has changed a lot. What is a typical dilemma of a Salesforce leader, CXO, or maybe an architect? Challenges and fix, and avoid AI pitfalls in case you are a decision maker. All right. So, talking about the three types, I think you all know these things, but I think to structure the discussion well and to put QA into right perspective, we find that QA is necessary in each of these categories. Like if we talk about ISVs, these are the guys who are building apps for App Exchange. They have their own unique QA requirements and QA challenges. Then there are consulting partners, like you can consider all big fours to any size partners who are delivering Salesforce implementation. And then there are end customers. End customers could be any company which actually purchase Salesforce licenses. Now they are using it for their business. And how these two are connected, we will see it going forward. Anything to add, Robin, here?
No, I think that summarizes it well. Very simple words. Somebody buys Salesforce licenses, then somebody has to implement it. And through that implementation, or while that implementation is happening, people can buy apps from App Exchange to speed it up. Even the customers can buy it. That is what we will discuss about today.
Perfect. So, why are we putting these three buckets or three types? So, just to put more context that we really mean what we say is first of all, if we talk about ISVs, is there are around 7,000 apps on App Exchange built by 1,000 plus ISV partners. And the bigger number here is, of course, this 150,000. These are the end customers of Salesforce. And the bigger number here is, which is in a smaller font, is 90% of them are Fortune 500 brands. And then if we count consulting partners, which is tough to do, but there are approx 2,500 plus consulting partners worldwide. So these buckets definitely give you a perspective that each category is huge in its own way, and why we have probably quoted in the previous slide. Before we go ahead and to make you understand how these three types are related, we are just taking a simple example of financial domain. We are talking about Mega Money Bank, which is actually driving their consumer experience by Salesforce. They're using Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Experience Cloud. So this is the bank, this is customer, they're using Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. The offerings they have is they're trying to offer credit cards, they're trying to offer bank loans and other SKUs that typically a bank has. They want to use Salesforce for sure, but they also want contract management and e-signatures kind of support. So that Salesforce natively doesn't have. So that's where probably an ISV comes in. And to entail the complexity of this whole thing, they do have a legacy system in place, which you can consider as a mainframe or any other IT stack, which is probably maintaining their financial transactions or any other integrations which are needed. Anything to add, Robin, here?
I think beautifully put, Abhinav, and this sets the stage for the remaining conversation. Um, Interestingly, also, Mega Money Bank wants to use a fictitious service called MocuSign for contract and signature management, which is an ISV. So they bought that app and they want to implement that as part of this journey. So in this three-party implementation, the bank is there, the ISVs are there, and then the consulting partners are also there as part of the story.
Oh, correct. And the consulting partner is the guy who did the initial implementation. You can assume they delivered the sales service cloud, experience cloud, probably installed the Smoky sign also, and did the initial integration with the legacy stack.
Yeah.
All right. This is yours, Robin.
100%. So we see this very big quote by Jamie Dimon. So he mentioned that AI could be as transformative as electricity or the internet. So if we just, let that thought get into your heads for 30 seconds or so, electricity, internet, these were world-changing technologies. And when the CEO at JP Morgan stands up and says that AI could be as transformative, people actually stop and listen to that. So that is something which all of us strongly believe in. And me and Abhinav were discussing that how is AI not just transforming parts of the supply chain, it is just changing the whole game. And just to add more context, Jamie Dimon also, I think, highlighted in one place that ChatGPT is trained on, let's say, X amount of data, but there is 5x amount of data behind their firewall. So just think about that if people start using AI stacks on top of that data, the amount of superpowers they will unlock. But in summary, AI is not in the future, it is already here. It is just that through our channels, we are distributing it more evenly.
Perfect. So again, it's a poll time, and let me make another poll live. We want to know what resonates with you most. We told about the three buckets like ISV, consulting, and customer. So please quickly enter where do you fit in. And I know there are guys who are working for consulting firms. They might fit in two buckets, but I'll pick anyone which resonates most with you. So scan the QR code and you will see a new poll live. In the meantime, the previous one had developers also who are working on non-coding projects. We have again 5 to 10 years of IT people, QA people who have joined. Interesting mix.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going. So I can explain this number, but what do you think, Robin, about this? What is this $1 and $3?
I think this number blew my mind when I read the industry reports and came to this conclusion. So, for example, or what this number talks about is this, fun fact that for every $1 which customers spend on Salesforce licenses, $3 or 3x the amount on an average is spent on services and solutions. What are these services and solutions? So, for example, that Mega Money Bank goes and buys one license, which is for $1, not $1, but let's say $1. Mega Money Bank will actually spend $3 on consulting and ISVs and solutions and salaries on their own teams. So that is the power of Salesforce implementations, not just for the users, but for the whole ecosystem. Think about it. So that is this fun number.
Right. And now, again, putting QA into perspective. So it is not just that $1 you are trying to save and get value out of it. It's a $3 at stake if
Yeah.
QA is not done correctly. Again, this
Yeah.
is a slide which is Robin's favorite, and we talked about the generative canvas. We want to give a quick rundown of this also.
Yeah, 100%. If you click play, see what is
Okay.
happening is very interesting over here. So a sales rep is getting into a call. So, pre-AI era, they would have to go through 50 tabs and get the data and then get to the information which they want to use for that sales call, right? Salesforce interestingly launched Generative Canvas, GA in 2026, in which what happens is that the system understands the context based on the user's intent. The user's intent here is they want to get on a sales call. So they should know about the company. Now, the AI systems from Salesforce read about that context and intent, and then based on the user's needs, actually creates the UI on the fly. See, pre-AI era, we used to do this through layouts and cards and page assignments and so on and so forth. But what is happening here is so powerful that when the user types, show me news, the generative UX actually generates a new card called related news on the fly, and then lets the user know about the related news for that customer conversation. This has deep implementations and impacts on the QA, because testing this now, if you think about it, is super complicated. Earlier, people would just test out, uh, assignment rules, page layouts, validations. But now think about it. This card was never there. This was developed and generated on the fly and shown to the user. Now, how do you test this? How do you do that testing on the fly? Obviously, manual is not the answer, but we'll get to the answer, as Abhinav and I know, in a few slides from here.
Okay. So this must be probably making many automation tools little anxious. What do you think about those things? Like, I'm just talking now as a vague
Yeah.
layman. Like, do you think the future is the tool should take screenshots and then figure out what's on UI and do things on fly? Just a gist.
Yeah, 100%. See, what would happen is, at least in our view, is that all of this is being generated, not rendered. This is being generated on the fly. Even if you take a screenshot, the system would have to then collate all those screenshots and get the context of what is happening. So again, you are behind what is happening in the real time. So as we are building out solutions, the solution would have to be more real time or near real time to give the feedback. If this related news is incorrect, or if that UI is generating false information, you should catch it on the fly and then
Right.
show that filter and ensure that it is there on the main topic, right? So deep implications for the QA, but we'll solve this through this session.
Perfect. Perfect. So going ahead, I think I'm assuming like you might be a QA engineer or a developer, but eventually somebody has to lead and drive the QA efforts, drive the QA budgeting and strategy. So that's why we have called it like leaders QA dilemma, like what they are struggling with right now. So I think to start with classics, typically people were trying to figure out, okay, now we are doing manual, we will move to some automation, and then there's somewhat kind of AI. So the challenges typically with manual, especially in the Salesforce thing, is like Salesforce has quarterly releases. They have different clouds and additions, different licenses, and then you have to cope up with that, which I think is well documented and very well known playbook, and we all know that. But then there are different AI tools which have some heavy claims, and then there is a reality check also. And then came an AI related era, which I will let Robin speak, and we saw a gist of that in the Canvas thing. That it's a different ball game altogether. So, what do you think about this AI era, Robin?
Yeah, 100% Abhinav. So interestingly, at TestDo's, we call the classical problem the dandruff problems. So everybody has some dandruff. But the AI era is bringing the hair fall problem, where it becomes, really choking for the QA body. See, for example, Salesforce is going really bullish on Agent Force, right? Their target is to launch, I think, 1 million or so agents into production by the end of this year or so, right? Um,
Mhm.
how do you test Agent Force is very different from how would you test a page layout or a contact detail page per se, right? Because Agent Force is not just that chat. Agent Force testing is all about context adherence and accuracy and the tools it is calling, and then understanding what was the system prompt given to it. That same or similar story applies to, let's say, testing generative UX or Canvas. If we keep on doing it in the standard way, it will testing will always be very behind, not just development, but what a user sees in production. So you have to be on point over there. Also, one thing which you were discussing earlier is that using solutions like Agent Force for developers or Cursor or Replit, you can literally complete the work of 2 weeks worth of development in a few days. Also, if you are a poor developer like me, you can still do it faster than what you could do it by hand. This creates an immense bottleneck for the QA. If you are just doing click testing or using tools to do it, that gap between dev velocity and QA velocity will keep on increasing. And last but
Right.
not the
There's no,
least, I think, yeah,
yeah, I was saying there is no
go.
sprint now. Like I will
There
take
is
a
no
sprint to
sprint.
at least develop a form or a page. You can develop an app in one day.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you go from prompt to apps in like days, not months, right? And this is just gonna get accelerated thanks to AI and agents now. And last but not the least is like earlier in the deterministic era, you log into Salesforce, you click on app launcher, you do something. But by design, AI is non-deterministic, and therefore the applications are also non-deterministic. So they require a different type of testing. They require testing for bias and ethical responses, context adherence, accuracy, or even evals if you want to look at agents post testing center in that way. So in summary, I think we'll look at the next slide. But the problems in the AI era are much more complicated than what we had earlier.
So again, a poll time. Only thing which we would like to know is what you have seen so far, and we want to see what is your biggest challenge. Like, is it like regression, compliance? What you are seeing so far? AI, test coverage, CI/CD. So please give us a minute to quickly answer that poll.
Yeah, this is my favorite question. It would be funny to understand that when I asked to one of my previous team members, not to be named, they said that the biggest Salesforce QA challenge was Salesforce itself because they were doing the wrong testing. They were testing for column sorting and whatnot. And then they realized
Hmm,
that in Salesforce testing, you would have to be very cognitive about um, the rules, for example, or the access people have to objects and fields.
true.
So I think knowledge was one thing which they wanted to highlight. But since then, I have personally seen a lot of challenges with Salesforce QA.
True, true. Salesforce is a different. I think it's a low code platform challenge. So, okay, in the meantime, just to quickly discuss results, we have majority
Yeah.
of people who are in consulting partner space. Okay.
Okay.
And then people are claiming regression testing probably as their biggest challenge so far. All right. I think let's keep moving and maybe we'll come back again. Okay. So this is a lovely image. Should I go or Robin, you want to touch upon this one?
Yeah, sure. I'll start and then, we'll hear from you as well. So very, very quickly, right? So I've been associated with QA since 2009 or so. Um, so what I see, and could be wrong, again, the whole idea of QA is like, humans can be wrong, is for a very long time, things were tested in a very manual way, right? So we had waterfall. I started my first project as a waterfall project. After development, it had to be tested by hand. After that, around 2009, 2010, Selenium came, but before that, you had something called as QTP, Quick Test Pro, for writing test cases in VB and .NET. So that lasted up until 2015 or so, when there was automation. And then after that, a lot of people started shouting, claiming about ML AI-driven solutions, which only came true last year or 2 years back after generative AI came into the picture. The image is about the evolution of a QA, how I went from clicking things to automating things to designing autonomous systems. And the last image is actually very important because the idea is not to replace the human tomorrow. The idea is to have jetpacks for the humans so that they can go farther at a lower cost and at a faster speed. So in summary, before there was end-to-end automation, AI-generated test cases, and self-healing because things were broken. So you needed self-healing. But 2025 and beyond is the year of agents and AI. The whole idea is, can we make it autonomous? But yeah, Abhinav, what do you think? How are we moving?
Okay, so I have some funny or random questions for you. So self-healing, does it really heals or does it adds more pain to the QA engineers?
Yeah, see, I have gone through a knee surgery, and if somebody would tell me that it will self-heal, I would be in more pain. Every day I will have pain and it will self-heal. Why should we do that? Self, like that word itself is dangerous. Uh, why is it getting broken and again? And this is again a QA solution. So it is supposed to check things. It itself is broken, which it is trying to fix. So you are adding
Hmm.
layers and layers of problem in that solution or promised tool or whatever.
Right. So again, it comes to somewhat like trust equation with the AI tool. Like, are you healing or you are adding more to the anxiety?
Yeah,
And
exactly,
about this
100%.
yeah, and about these AI generated test cases, do you again think they overwhelm the user and there is again a requirement to manually rescan what they have done, or do you have seen any success where one can be like relieved? Oh yeah, I got everything done.
See, I think there are like two things or two buckets of solutions that I have seen. We fall in one of those buckets. I love all of our competitors, but a lot of them are just ChatGPT wrappers. So they'll just pile on text for you. Nobody wants any more text. If I want to go home as a QA at 5 p.m. home, since there are these 50,000 AI generated test cases, I need to now spend the night reviewing whatever is generated. So the answer is context. And how can you generate better test cases based on context? So one of the things which TestDo's does is that we take your context and then we recommend you some of these test cases or some of these test steps which you can accept or reject on the fly. But the whole answer lies in the context, not randomly AI generating test cases and then humans running after their lives.
Right, right. So probably the points we are trying to discuss here is to give you guys some food for thought. Like we're not saying buy any tool or use any tool, but think in this way. Like, is it really helping, or is it more adding to problems and like anxiety? All right. So enough talk about AI, and let's go to the basics. Let's talk about mock sign and what are typical struggles of an ISV. I know there are not many ISVs here, but for anybody who is building apps for App Exchange, I think the first point is the biggest challenge, because an ISP doesn't know that where their app is going to go, where they are deployed. There are different validation rules, different metadata. So it's a biggest challenge. And again, from the classical, if I go back to the same slide, in any era you are in, like typically Salesforce was warming up from here. So
Yeah.
here also this problem has persisted. So one bug, it can, I mean, appear in different formats and shapes in different orgs, so be very mindful of that. And we already talked about that every customer is unique. This one is a big one. If you talk about mock sign, and if they have to go inside a bank, the financial companies or brands, or if you talk about Fortune 500s, they have a very strict compliance. So it's tricky if you are slipping on an industry compliance, or if you have a security loophole which your QA has missed out, it can delay your go live. And again, the classical problem, Salesforce changes and innovates very quickly, so release compliance. Anything
Yeah.
you want to add, Robin, here?
Yeah, 100%. We were recently talking to a company who want to try out our product. They're into pharmacovigilance, so they are an ISV and they want to deploy products for pharmaceutical or healthcare companies, right? They mentioned that they have around 100, 200 objects. So just think about some of these problems, right? If one field is off for those, let's say 100 objects, that is a 100x problem already. And then multiply this by three of their environments. So pre-prod, prod, and staging or dev or sandbox. So 300 problems. And then to your point, if they're playing for US market or 5 countries, so 300 into 5, 1,500 problems. And then if this has to be done thrice a year, because Salesforce releases thrice a year, I will not even go to 5,000 problems, but people should get the idea that it just compounds from that one spot is the whole thing.
True, true. Very good point. All right. So now let's talk about Mega Money Bank, the end customer itself. So for the consulting partner friends here, it's important for you to understand, because you are giving an implementation. They have to actually consume that thing and they have to maintain it. So I think the first problem starts from the bad implementation itself. And at times when you are implementing, you already know that they have a legacy code base which you have to align with, and then you have to build on top of it. And all these mainframes and all the systems, they are little fragile. So you have different point of failures with the different integrations you have. Lately Salesforce is going crazy. They have classic lightning SLDS 2 now. And again, anybody in QA automation or writing scripts and ID finders, they know that this is actually a fragile thing in itself to keep up with. Any point on this one? What do you think about SLDS and this kind of evolution, Robin? You have done a lot on Salesforce QA.
Yeah, interestingly, Abhinav, you ask users, they'll be very happy about all these things. They love the blue buttons and lightning bolts and whatnot, right? You ask any QA, they'll be very angry because now they have to fight across five of these, and then the customers' customizations which their team or a consulting partner has done for them. So we were talking to a customer, and you would not believe that the HTML or the page that they were trying to automate had 200 nodes on the page of HTML. And
Hmm.
inside that, they were trying to do a custom component. This is hell for automation, is what they told me.
Right, right. So again, the guys on enterprise side and those who are implementing, please take care of your HTML structure. No more that much of nodes, or 200, right? No more
Exactly.
complex DOM structures. And again, Salesforce has been kind on CPQ lately, so that is going away. Revenue Cloud and something else is coming up. And with banks, again, there are a lot of compliance. We just mentioned, if you don't know what is there, depending on country. In India, there is RBI. In US, there is some other system. So QA actually has to comply and make sure that many of these things are taken care of.
Yes.
All right. And before we go to the main game, for consulting partner, I think the biggest challenge which I have seen, we are a consulting partner itself. Sometimes the budget is so constrained that we cannot put QA as the first thought. We just try to do the thing. We do some testing. That doesn't mean that we don't test, but QA is mostly an afterthought, depending on the budget. And then it leads to handover issues at times, which I have seen when there is a implementation and there is a lack of, you can say, QA automation or QA process. The good thing about QA process is you actually end up documenting a lot of what you are building for a customer and how that is supposed to work. That actually ends up becoming a training material at times, which helps the end user training also. And the third point is clients struggle with this post go live stability. What does this means is that you have built a system, but again, if we talk about that bank, there are a lot of integrations, there are a lot of touch points. And now imagine if you have limited handover document, you have not done QA properly, you have demoed in UAT few good nice cases, few negative cases, but there are some corner cases left over. So they might kick in post implementation when the customer's thing is in full swing and full pressure. And that actually burns a lot of hands and relationships here and there, especially for a consulting partner. And last thing, and thanks to Robin to bringing this key point also, is vendor locking. Like he mentioned to me that many times he's seen consulting partners lock into a given QA tool or platform, but then it might not be the case that your end customer will be very happy to continue paying for licenses or continue using that platform or the language of that platform or the syntax of that platform. Maybe Robin, you want to add more on that one?
Yeah, 100%. See, I'll start with a data point. On an
Mhm.
average, 40% of Salesforce implementations are delayed. And just think about it. See what happens towards the end of the rollout is sometimes it is on time, which is rarely. Sometimes it is slightly after the time. So the client is also asking, hey, what happened? We were supposed to finish this last month. People start skimping on the budgets and timelines. They think you is an afterthought, to Abhinav's point. And then somebody in that meeting, a customer says, hey, why don't you recommend us a tool? Due to a lot of reasons, people would name a tool or an automation solution without realizing the client situation. Do they have a technical person? Do they have the budget for it? What is their core requirement? And then, interestingly, lo and behold, 1 month later, that customer is logged with a certain vendor. Both of them hate each other, but they can't run away. The whole point of AI native solutions is that we should have the users use the solution in the most natural fashion. People should not bend their head to fit in the helmet. The helmet should fit the user's head. But interestingly, that is where a lot of these AI solutions would help us. And vendor lock-in is one of the key problems which a lot of people have asked us. And we can discuss the solution in the next slides. But these are things that even I have seen personally.
Perfect, perfect. So, AI pitfalls to avoid. I will let you take over this slide, Robin, because you are building a QA AI solution yourself.
Yeah, 100% Abhinav. And while my co-founder Shriyansh is not here, but a big shout out to him, he can, I think, go on for hours on this one because we have ourselves fallen into a lot of these AI QA pitfalls. Not just from discovering tools, but from building tools and solutions as well, right? So the first point is very simple, which Abhinav, when we were discussing that, when you do things like self-healing, right? Since something is broken, now it is healed on the fly, you don't know whether it was correctly done or not. So it leads to undetected bugs. right? Second is lack of Salesforce specific training or context. So what happens is that in this three-party arrangement of a customer, a, an, a consulting firm, and an ISV, only one or two people actually know what's happening. So that lack of context becomes a problem, not just for test coverage, but also for the tool or solution. Then the third one is AI generated false positives. So what would happen if you have this ChatGPT wrapper generate 1,000 test cases for humans to review? Obviously, like I wouldn't love to do it. I would be fatigued. And last on that section is inadequate human review leads to compliance failure risks. So, for example, in that example of the pharmacovigilance company, even though somebody would have to run all the test cases, they would have to stamp that, yeah, we have run these and then send it to the customer because they would have to be compliant on a few standards. That brings me to what are the questions that we should ask? So, to Abhinav's point, the idea is not to like sell anything. The idea is to trade knowledge. Whenever you are looking at solutions, tools, services, agents, whatever, ask questions around these four axes, right? One is predictability. Can you predict with high confidence and guarantee what the solution will do for you? Next is verifiability. So, in that case, if your agent AI solution is doing something, can you verify what it has done? Screenshots, videos, traces are just some examples. Third is like tolerable. So, think of it like a spring in the car. So the whole idea of using AI solutions is they can decide, plan, and act based on the situation. If in the case of generative UX, if the screen changes, or even due to Salesforce releases, if the button is moved somewhere else or the DOM is changed, the system should be able to tolerate that change and then work around it. Last is my favorite, steerable. The whole idea of the jetpacks was that humans should be able to steer the solution in a certain direction. It should not hallucinate. If you ask it to go create a lead, it should not hallucinate and go create a case. That will be more problem. Again, we're talking about QA. You don't want QAs to fail. You want the whole system to pass. But yeah, that's my thought on these four axes.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks, Robin. And again, everyone, this is, I think, the key slide of this webinar. And as Robin also said, that we don't want to push any tool or any AI tech to you. I know you all are evaluating different things for your own implementation, for your own ISV business, or maybe as an end customer. But if you take care of these things, so probably you will avoid these four things. And to avoid four things, probably you need to these check on these four axes which Robin mentioned. And let's keep moving. Again, this is to understand where do you stand in terms of your QA team structuring. So you might be somebody as an ISP or as an end customer who has no QA or AI solutions in place, or maybe you have no QA team in place also. Mostly this is the case which I have seen with small partners. You have a small QA team, you are little ahead of these guys, you have a QA team, and now you're building AI capabilities in the QA team. And then you have gone beyond, you have deployed those AI capabilities in the production. Anything on this one, Robin, which I missed?
No, 100% Abhinav. I think you put it very succinctly that people need to first understand where are they. Like while I would love to think that, oh, I have a 50-member team or I might hire 25 people in the next quarter, there are no 25 people sitting outside who will join me next quarter. So we need to do a very real assessment of where we are and then decide what kind of solution we want.
Perfect. Over to you, Robin, on this one.
Yeah,
I love
100%.
this term QA AI maturity.
Okay, so guys, you heard it first time over here. Also, no patents. You can use QAI maturity. See, the whole idea is that you need to assess your maturity in that quality journey. What does QAI stand for? QA plus AI strategy, or your QA plus AI maturity, because that is where you are headed to, right? So, Abhinav's point earlier, you see these four steps: no QA or AI solutions, small QA team. You are still building out something. You have a small team who's working with you, or you have all of this and you have AI capabilities in production, right? Now, the whole idea is that sit down, open a spreadsheet. I can share a template if you want. Just let us know in the comments. The point is that you need to understand the problem statement, the resources required to solve it, the compliances, for example, BFSI, healthcare, they will have strong compliances, or even in GovTech, you will have strong compliances for certain regions. What is the solution that you want with some time frame, and then the success metric. So if you think of it as a three-dimensional structure, let me push your thinking a little bit. One axis is where are you on this journey? Second axis is how you want to define that and design that strategy. And then third is the time and cost angle, right? In this session, I don't think we can go in detail with each one of these, but just let us know in the comments. More than happy to jump on a chat. Both me and Abhinav are very curious and passionate about these topics. More than happy to help you build out your QA strategy with AI salt in it.
Perfect, perfect. So as Robin said, I think we are near end of the session, and again there is a lot to cover. But I will again come back to this slide. You have to see this angle, and then you have to find yourself in this QA AI maturity. We have a lot to cover. If you want us to talk about anything else beyond these things which you liked and which you want us to expand on, we can probably come again. But again, as Robin said, if you have a need for a more detailed strategy discussion, so drop a comment in LinkedIn, or maybe if you're watching it on Twitter or Facebook, we are going live there. Also, drop a comment there, tag me and Robin, and we'll definitely come back to you. And again, there is a raffle. Why don't you tell about this one, Robin? What is that?
100%. So that's the surprise prize. So Telsuz is a proud sponsor, and we have a booth at TDX, which is happening on 2nd and 3rd May at the Bangalore International Expo Center. Do join us over there. And if you are having this excuse, oh, I don't have a pass, Robin, how will I come to that TDX event? Don't worry. Just tag Telsuz and Concrete.io in the LinkedIn comments. We'll observe it for 24 hours and we'll enter you into a raffle. We'll provide you the pass and more than happy to welcome you at the event. Very simple in again word. Just put up a comment at the rate testjuice at the rate concrete.io on the LinkedIn comments. We'll run a small raffle. I see that there are a few people who are actively watching this on LinkedIn. Based on that raffle prize, we will send over the TDX pass to you, and then you can join us at the event, which is happening after 6 years in India. So I'm going, and the whole idea is, can we spread that love and support to the community as well?
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. And again, we will just wait for 2 more minutes in case you have a question. I'm watching LinkedIn right now. So please drop in there. We can just try to take 1 or 2 questions. And in the meantime, I'm just watching LinkedIn. So thank you, Anurag. Hi. Hi, Ishan. I think they tried your tool, Robin. They loved it. So thank you, Ishan. Hi, Sunita. Arun Ravichandran, thanks. And hello, Pragati. Hi. And there is Saif Ali. Hi. Thanks. Thanks for the feedback. He said amazing session. So thank you.
Okay, I think Asha has a question. Please brief around what should be the first steps to move towards AI solutions for Salesforce testing. You want to take a jab at it, Abhinav, and then I will add on some parts.
Okay, let me just read it again. Please brief around what should be the first steps towards to move. I think let me go back to the slide. So I will let Robin take it on more, but probably you have to go this way only. Like, what is the problem statement, resources, compliances, and then actually, I will not say that AI should fit in everything, but you have to make a sensible use, like manual. How much manual is needed? Is it more of an automation case, and how much AI is sensible? But over to you, Robin. What do you say here?
Yeah, 100% Abhinav. I think you've hit the nail on the head. That if somebody is running 3 test cases once a month, please don't use AI. But if the idea is that no, we are an ISV partner or we are a consulting firm or we are that mega money bank, that fictitious bank that we were talking about, and we have, let's say, 100 test cases to be run, but we have a small team, right? How do I balance out that capacity? Can we use autonomous AI agents for it? And we need to run this, once every month. Is something I would recommend. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into the solutioning part. But to Abhinav's point, start with the problem, understand what is there, look at the resources. And a lot of folks who've joined us, they might not know where to start. So the first point is start with education. At TestBoost, even we have an open source offering. You can try that out. More than happy to jump on a call, get you guys started. The whole point being that first education, then problems, then resources, and then the constraints, and then go about it. Like it has to be charted out. There is no point launching a missile but not aiming anywhere.
Perfect. So thank you, Asha. Thanks for the question. Karthik said great session. Thank you, Karthik. And Sunita expressed interest. Would love to try the tool. So definitely tag Robin, and he will definitely set something up for you. We'll
Yeah,
just wait for
100%.
one more minute. Mhm. Okay. Oh, there is a way to show the comments. So yeah, thanks, Pragati. So people are excited to try the tool. This is good. So another LinkedIn user said that I'm just quickly going through the things. In the meantime, if any new comment is there, again, we are just closing in 1 minute, guys. Any last questions or things? So Asha said she will miss. Again, you can participate in raffle, Asha, if you want to pass on the thing. So you can pass on to the friends. And Shanti, thank you. I think we are good, Robin. Should we end?
Okay. Yeah, 100%. Let's end.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot, everyone who joined. And we promise to come back with a better and more focused content around the set of questions you will post next so that you stay connected and we keep exploring the QA and AI territory. Any last words, Robin, from your side?
No, I think as Abhinav was highlighting, stay curious. Don't hold yourself back. This AI train is leaving. Might as well get on it.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you. See you guys. Bye bye.